It is Friday. I feel like there's some stuff in my teeth. Hello, hello. Welcome in. I am Jill. It is 5 p.m. It is Friday, and it is time for your Phoenix Renewal Hour. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Hello, Moonlight. Welcome. Zadia. Welcome. How is everybody doing this evening? You made it through the week. We got it to Friday. And now we are at the weekend and we can look at tonight's sky. What happened today? What's our personal growth going to be? What is our destiny in the sky, right? What are we supposed to do? So that's what we're here doing, right? That's what our Phoenix Renewal Hour is all about. So, welcome in. This is your Phoenix Renewal Hour. I'm very glad that you are here for this Friday. Tonight, we are talking about Mercury conjunct Jupiter, what it means, and why it matters for your life and your personal growth, and specifically the neuroscience behind why most women keep hitting the same invisible ceiling no matter how hard they work. Stay for the full hour. You're going to want all of this. So, welcome in. Pull up a chair. Quick note before we dive in, tonight is actually the last Friday live at 5 p.m. starting Monday, August 17th. I'm moving the live to 5:30 p.m. I'll talk a little bit more about why in a bit. But tonight we're here, we're together, and we have a big topic. Mercury just met Jupiter in Leo, and the self improvement application of that transit is something that I've been excited to teach you all week. So, for all of you still coming in and joining, welcome in. I am Jill, and every weekday at starting next week 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I come live daily for our daily astrology in a lens of personal growth, right? So, real tools, real neuroscience, real self development for women in a growth period of their life. Tonight, Mercury conjunct Jupiter and the science of thinking bigger. So, let's go. Welcome in. I see you there. Hello, hello. Hi. I see everybody. Welcome in. I'm happy you're all here on this Friday, our last 5 p.m. live. We'll get going though at 5:30 next week. So, good Friday. Welcome to your Phoenix Renewal Hour. I'm Jill, spiritual wellness creator, author, and a woman actively building her next chapter from scratch, right? Before we dive into tonight's content, I want to make an announcement because it matters for your schedule. Starting Monday, August 17th, 3 days from now, the live moves from 5 p.m. Pacific time to 5:30 p.m. Pacific time every weekday, Monday through Friday, going forward. Okay. So just right here. And the reason is simple. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've been skipping the gym because I don't have enough time between leaving work and going live to go to the gym, shower, and then get ready for the live and everything. So I just been coming home and getting ready for the live. And now my health is suffering. So I don't want my health to suffer. How can we continue to fill our own cup if we're not actually filling our own cup and taking care of ourselves, right? So that's why we're going to start at 5:30 going forward after today's live. So now for tonight, this Friday live, I've been genuinely excited about because the transit is happening today in the sky that maps almost perfectly into one of the most important concepts in personal development. And the concept is why most people will grow and then others stay stuck. And it's not because of discipline or lack of effort, even, not even about circumstance, but because of a specific cognitive pattern that can be identified, understood, and changed. So let's get into it. Welcome in. Hello. I see you. Hi. Welcome. Glad you're here joining me today. Thanks so much for coming in. Make sure you are liking the live, sharing, and following so you don't miss it ever. We want to share this out to as many women as possible. We want to grow this community, bring them in this room before I start the lesson. There's a lot to go over tonight, and I'm so excited to share this with you. So make sure you are tapping the screen if you are watching this live on TikTok and sharing it out. If you're on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. Please like this live and make sure you are subscribing and hitting the bell so that you don't miss any of my lives. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I'm very grateful to have you. Thank you so much. And please keep liking the live. It helps me so much. So here is what's happening in the sky today. I'm going to connect every single transit to your actual life and your growth. So the headliner is Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Leo. Mercury and Jupiter are meeting at the same degree and in Leo, which is the sign of self expression, creativity, and bold, authentic identity. So let me translate what that actually means. Welcome in. Hi, welcome. Do I have contact with the unseen? I do, and we all do. It just is whether or not you notice it or not. I just happen to notice it. So, yeah, absolutely. So, Mercury governs how we think, how we communicate, and how we process information. Jupiter governs expansion, abundance, and the willingness to entertain bigger possibilities. When they conjoin, when they literally sit on top of each other in the sky, Mercury thinking capacity gets amplified by Jupiter's expansiveness, right? The mental lens widens, right? The questions get bigger. The internal permission to consider what was previously off limits is now activated. Does that make sense? Hello, welcome. Glad you came in. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you are liking if you are in the room. That helps me out so much. Please keep liking and tapping the screen. Let's TikTok know that I'm providing value. So they'll keep showing me to you, right? So please, if you could like the live, tap, 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 tap. It really helps me out. All right. So in Leo, let's see, what do we got? In Leo specifically, all of these are joining up in Leo. This conjunction is asking, what would you think, create, and express if you genuinely believed you were allowed to think, create, or express it? Right? Not the safe version of what you want to create or what you want to think or express, right? We're not talking about being safe tonight. We're talking about our big, expansive dreams, okay? So, the version that matches who the eclipse 2 days ago asked you to become. This is why tonight's self development topic is the science of thinking bigger, because Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Leo is precisely the astrological condition under which the research says expanded thinking is most accessible. The sky is giving you an opening. Tonight, we're going to use it. All right. This is fun. I'm excited. So, and then also, the moon is still in Virgo today, and it's forming a square to Saturn. This creates a productive tension worth naming. The moon in Virgo wants to be practical and detail oriented. Saturn in Aries wants discipline and structure. When they square each other, there's a tug of war between overthinking detail and just making steady forward progress, right? The self development lesson here is very direct. Perfectionism is Saturn. Moon square energy, totally gone wrong, right? It's the part of you that won't move forward because the conditions just aren't perfect. The plan isn't complete. The outcome isn't guaranteed. Tonight, Mercury, Jupiter conjunction, that's the antidote. It asks you to think bigger than the details. Trust the direction, even without having the complete map. This is also Venus in Libra day. And Venus in Libra is asking about authenticity in your relationships, including your relationship with yourself, right? Specifically, where are you compromising too much? Where are you compromising too much? Where are you softening your real needs and desires to keep the peace? I'm certainly guilty of that, right? And building quiet resentment underneath. Ugh, also guilty. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't know it to be true because I've experienced it this way also, right? Venus in Libra doesn't want performance. She wants genuine reciprocity, the authentic version. That question is worth sitting with tonight. And Mars in is in Cancer. Mars is in Cancer, which means your emotional energy and your action energy are wired together right now. Emotional energy and action energy. When you feel emotionally aligned with something, you have enormous energy for it, right? When you feel emotionally disconnected from it, Mars and Cancer makes it almost impossible to push through with willpower alone. It is important self knowledge for the next 6 weeks. Okay, stop trying to force action through discipline that doesn't resonate with you, right? Find the emotional connection to the thing you want to do first, and then the action will follow. Hello, welcome in. Hi, hi. What are you up to today? All right, so that is the sky. What's the big lesson in it, right? What can we glean from all of this? So, I want to teach you something tonight um, that I think fits very practically and when useful with the framework of personal development. And it has two parts that really fit together quite perfectly. Part one comes from Dr. Carol Dweck at Stanford University, the researcher who coined the term growth mindset. So we've all heard that term before, right? Growth mindset. Her work over 3 decades has identified the single most predictive factor in whether a person will achieve their potential or not. And it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's also nothing to do with your talent. Work ethic, got nothing to do with that either. It's your belief system. It's the belief about whether you have the ability to grow or not. People with a fixed mindset believe that their intelligence, their talent, their capacity are relatively fixed. You either have it or you don't. When they encounter difficulty, their brain interprets it as evidence that they don't have what it takes. They avoid challenges that might reveal their own limitations, so they plateau. What does that mean? Right? Hey, how's AZ's finest? Welcome in. Hi. So, that people with a growth mindset believe that ability is developable, that challenge, effort, and learning literally change what they're capable of. When they encounter difficulty, their brain interprets it as information about what to work on next. And they lean into challenges. They keep growing, right? Growth mindset. That's it. So here's what makes this more than just a feel good concept. Dweck's research showed distinct differences in brain activity between fixed and growth mindset responses to challenges. Okay. People with a growth mindset showed greater neutral engagement when they encountered errors, meaning their brains were literally more activated to learn from their mistakes. The mindset changes the neurology. And the beautiful and the challenging thing about mindset is that it's not a personality trait that you were born with, right? It's a cognitive pattern that was learned, usually in childhood, and it can be deliberately changed by you through specific practices. Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Leo today is the perfect astrological moment to address this directly. Big hair for the big goals. I know. I think it's just like my bangs are doing something weird. All right. So that's the first part, right? So the second part, this comes from Gay Hendricks, a psychologist and a personal development researcher who took whose book is called The Big Leap. I think I've read that before. Have you guys read The Big Leap? I'm a twin. You're in a twin flame journey. Ooh, good luck. Good luck with that. Make sure you're being your authentic self if you're looking for your twin flame, and make sure they're being their authentic self too. Watch out for narcissists who pretend. They figure out what you're into and what you're about so that they can be your twin flame if they're really into it too. So be careful, right? All right, so part two from Gay Hendricks in the book The Big Leap, right? So he introduced what he calls the upper limit problem. And this concept explains something that could be a little bit confusing. Um, and so we're going to talk about it. Okay. Thanks, Adam. So the upper limit problem is this: every person has an internal thermostat for how much success, happiness, love, and abundance they believe that they're allowed to have. Hendricks calls this the zone of genius, the upper limit of what feels safe and permitted. Hello, right? Let's see. And whenever life expands beyond that zone, whenever something goes really well, right, for them, whenever you get like a significant win, whenever love or success shows up bigger than you expected it to, bigger than your internal set point specifically, the unconscious mind triggers a self sabotage mechanism to bring things back down to a familiar level. The mechanism looks different for different people. For some, it's picking a fight right after a great week. For some, it's getting sick whenever things are going well. For some, it's procrastinating on the very project that would take them to the next level, right? No, I don't know what that word means. um, yeah, so for some, I want to say this directly because I have done this. It's minimizing your own wins, immediately following success with a yes, but finding the flaw in the thing that just worked. Refusing to feel good about results because feeling good about them might mean you're getting a little bit too big for your boots. Oh, a football player. Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know anything about sports. Um, so that's an upper limit problem. Okay. And it is operating in almost every woman who has ever said, I don't know why I keep self sabotaging. I've said that. Have you said that? Right? Um, you're not self sabotaging because you're broken. You're upper limiting because your internal thermostat hasn't been reset to match the size of the life that you're actually trying to build for yourself. Thank you. So, how do you reset the thermostat so you don't self sabotage? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. So, Hendricks identified four specific upper limit triggers. Okay. Four core beliefs that activate the self sabotage mechanism. And I want to go through all four because one of them is going to land for someone in this room specifically. Somebody. I just know it. So, upper limit trigger one. Okay. The belief that you are fundamentally flawed. The belief that you are fundamentally flawed. That there is something wrong with you at the core that means you don't deserve the big life of your dreams, right? This usually sounds like this: who am I to want this? Or I'm not the kind of person that has that. A fixed mindset combined with this belief creates a ceiling. It creates a ceiling so low that you can't even stand up in your own life. All right. Upper limit trigger two: the belief that expanding would be disloyal to your family or your origin story. That's a big one for a lot of people. I see this one a lot. That that getting bigger, more successful, more visible, more yourself would somehow leave people behind or betray from where you came from. This is especially common for women who grew up in environments where standing out was not safe or rewarded. Raise your hand if that's you, because hello, right? Upper limit trigger three: oh, wow, that's across the world. I'm in America. I'm in Phoenix. This is the Phoenix Renewal Hour in Phoenix. All right. So, trigger 3, the belief that more success means more burden. That if you expand more, more is going to be expected of you. More will be demanded, and you'll lose the freedom that you currently have. The unconscious callous goes. Oh, not callous, calculus. Unconscious calculus goes. The bigger I get, the more I have to give. If I stay small, I stay free. This is a lie that the nervous system tells you to protect your energy reserves. Like literally. Your brain's like, don't get too, ambitious because that's energy and you need it for your body to function. So, survival. It's that reptilian brain, that monkey mind that's deep inside of us that is all about survival and so scared of change. And in order to grow and get bigger, that is change. And you have to get your monkey mind, your reptilian brain wrapped around it and okay with it. Right? So, the very last trigger is the belief that your expansion will harm someone else. That if you win, someone loses. Wah, wah. Right? If that you have more, then someone has less. That your visibility somehow takes up space that belonged to a different woman. This is a scarcity mindset applied to personal growth. And it keeps brilliant women invisible for decades. And here is where Mercury conjunct Jupiter comes directly in. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance. Mercury is how we think. And what Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Leo is saying today, specifically in the sign of authentic creative self expression, is this: the expansion available to you right now is real. The question is whether your internal thermostat will let you receive it. Hi. The growth mindset practice for tonight, and I want you to actually do this, don't just hear it, is what Dweck calls the yet practice. Yet. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't do that, or I'm not that person, or it's not possible for me, add the word yet. Just a little bit, right? For me, I'm not at 10,000 followers yet. I haven't built the income yet. The village I want to build doesn't exist yet. Yet is the growth mindset in a single word. It shifts the brain from a closed door to an open trajectory. And the upper limit practice is too simple to notice. When things go well, when you have a great live, when my books sell, when something works, notice notice whether you immediately follow it with a yes, but, right? Notice if you minimize it. Pay attention to your behaviors. Notice. Notice whether you pick a fight when things have been going well, or all of a sudden you get sick, physically sick. Um, you don't have to fix it tonight. You just have to see it, and awareness is the first move. Okay? So in Buddhism, Buddha says the mind is everything. You think what you become, right? And the Buddha said this thousands of years before Carol Dweck published her Stanford research. And the alignment between the ancient Buddhist teaching and modern neuroscience uh, on this point is not coincidental, right? Hi. It's both traditions arriving at the same truth from different directions, right? What you think you become, not metaphorically, neurologically. The brain builds neural pathways based on what it thinks repeatedly. Repeated thoughts become cognitive habits. Cognitive habits become behavioral defaults. Behavioral defaults become your life. This is why Mercury conjunct Jupiter today is not just an interesting astrological event. It's a genuine opening because Jupiter expands whatever it touches. And today it's touching Mercury's thinking function, the thoughts that feel possible today, the visions that feel accessible, the questions that feel worth asking are bigger than they would be on a regular day. The neural grooves for those bigger thoughts are more readily carved out today, right? Buddhism teaches a practice called right thinking, sama sankappa in Pali, as one of the 8 pillars of the Eightfold Path. Right thinking specifically means thoughts that are oriented towards growth, compassion, and genuine well being, as opposed to thoughts that are oriented towards craving, aversion, and harm. The growth mindset is right thinking made practical. The upper limit problem is a form of wrong thinking, thoughts that orient toward limited disguises as humanity or humility, or caution, right? So the Buddhist practice tonight is pretty simple. Your thoughts, you know, become who you are. So watch what you're thinking, right? When a limiting thought arises within you, this is too big for me. I'm not ready. Who am I to want this? Notice the way you notice. Notice the way you notice, okay? Or act on it. You just notice and return to the bigger question, right? Now, let me show you how this is showing up in my life right now because I think the most useful thing that I can offer is real application, not just theory, right? Hello from Colombia. Hi. Um, I hit 1,028 followers on TikTok earlier this week, 2 nights in a row. I had a 98 percentile live performance. I published my third book, the 2027 Phoenix Renewal Almanac, is live on Kindle right now as of this morning. And my first instinct after each of those wins was to immediately look for a problem, to note what wasn't quite working yet. To make sure I didn't get too comfortable with that win before it got taken away, right? That's the upper limit problem in real time in my actual life. Mercury conjunct Jupiter today is my reminder, and I'm taking it seriously that the expansion I'm experiencing is real, and I am allowed to achieve it and receive it. Yeah, so the almanac closed. Yeah, man. right? So, doing all of this, we need to remind ourselves to keep resetting our thermostat so that we can allow ourselves to grow. So we don't self sabotage. My mouth doesn't even want to say the words. I don't even want to say it. You know, I don't want you to perform confidence. It's not about packaging yourself up and showing yourself to the world. You're in some with some kind of mask on, right? We need to walk through life as who we are because we all have some kind of gift within us which we don't ever see or use if we are in pretend mode all the time. And then we need to know that we're worth it. Give ourselves that self worth. Come here every day. I'm going to teach you stuff on how to make you feel better about who you are because you need to realize that you have so much capacity within you to build whatever it is you want to build, to have the kind of relationship that you want to have. You have that power within you to be and do whatever you want, truly. It is not just something our moms tell us. For you, what have you found to be an upper belief trigger? Which of the four triggers resonated when I named them? What is a fundamental flaw or belief? A disloyalty belief, a burden belief, a scarcity belief? You don't have to say it out loud, but I want you to know what it is because you can't reset your thermostat if you can't see it. So that's why I talk about observing yourself so you can see these things. Hello, right? All right. And here's the thing about my 2027 Phoenix Renewal Almanac that I mentioned. I wrote it specifically for women in a growth period who want to use the astrological year ahead as a framework for intentional personal development. Every month, every major transit, every new and full moon, with the self development lens applied. Okay, it's on Kindle right now. Link is in my bio in my link tree. If the work we're doing in these lives resonates with you, that almanac is your companion for the whole year ahead. So check it. Linked in my link tree bio. Just got published this morning. I'm so excited about it. I am American. Welcome in. All right. So I'm going to close tonight. Um, or I want to close the teaching portion of tonight with a somatic practice, meaning a body based practice that directly addresses the upper limit problem at a physiological level. Hello. But here's what my dog was just digging in the trash. Sorry for the loud clap, y'all. Oh my gosh. Buddy, don't get in the trash. Buddy. Oh, my buddy. All right. So, the upper limit thermostat is not just a cognitive pattern, it's stored in the body. Okay. The contraction that happens when expansion feels threatening, the tightening of the chest, the shallow breathing, the tension in the shoulders. That's the body's physical expression of the ceiling. Yeah, yeah, lots of children. And you can address all of that directly through the body, right? So, this practice is called expansion breathing, and it draws on both somatic therapy principles and the breath research from Dr. Stanislav Grof at Johns Hopkins. It's simple, it's safe, and you can do it right now. Hello, welcome in. Hi. All right, so here's what I want you to do. So you want to sit comfortably with your spine tall, right? Spine tall. Place one hand on your chest and one hand like on your belly. Okay. And for a moment, just notice how you're breathing right now. And don't change how you're breathing, just notice how you breathe. Notice the depth of your breath, whether your breath is reaching all the way to your belly or staying shallow in your chest. Okay. Now, I want you to intentionally breathe into expansion. So, inhale slowly through your nose and let the breath travel all the way down, belly first, then ribs, then chest. Okay. A full 3-part breath. All right. Ready? Belly, ribs, now the chest, right? So when you breathe in, it should fill your belly up and then bring it all the way up that way. So when we're going to do a deep breath, so a full 3-part breath. And so you feel your hands rise in sequence and you feel your belly rise and your chest rise with both hands, right? So when you have your lungs, everything all filled up, you can feel um, your hands at the top. Okay. And of course, I hope you haven't been holding your breath. Please release. Um, exhale all the way completely. Make sure all the air is out. So the chest releases first, then the ribs, and then the belly. So it's just exactly opposite. Okay. Slow and complete. So let's do it together all the way. I was trying to like give instructions on it, whatever. But so here we go. So we're going to breathe in, tummy, ribs, chest. Feel it happen with your hands while you do it, and then release it out all the way completely and backwards, chest, ribs, tummy. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that together. So now, this time when you do it, when you breathe in, I want you to pair the inhale with a thought. I am allowed to expand. And when you exhale, think, I release the ceiling. So we'll do it again. So breathe in. And as you're breathing in, I am allowed to expand. And as you breathe out, I release the ceiling. So do that on your own practice, much slower and more graceful than I just did, of course. Welcome, welcome. So do that like 3 times in a row, nice and slow, breathing in and breathing out. And remember, when you're breathing in, you're thinking to yourself, I am allowed to expand. And then as you're breathing out, I release the ceiling, right? All right. So this works because the expansion breath physically counteracts the contraction the nervous system uses to enforce the upper limit. You are literally breathing against the ceiling. The body begins to associate expansion of the lungs, of the chest, and the belly with safety rather than a threat. Over time, repeated expansion breathing rewires the somatic component of the upper limit pattern. The research on breath work and nervous system regulation from Bessel van der Kolk's work, The Body Keeps the Score, to Peter Levine's somatic experiencing framework, confirms that the body holds these patterns in the body and you can release them. Not through thinking alone, though. You can't do it through thinking alone. Through breath, through movement, through the direct experience of an expanded physical state. So when you were fully full of air, your expanded physical state. Hi, welcome. Welcome in. Okay. So do the expansion breathing, whether you notice the upper limit trigger activating, whenever you feel that. Okay. So whenever the yes, but arrives after a win, do that breathing exercise. Go have a private moment, right? When the contraction follows the expansion, 3 breaths, belly, ribs, chest. I'm allowed to expand and I release the ceiling. That is your practice. That's the somatic tool for tonight. All right, everybody, let me land tonight. So, Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Leo today opened the mental lens and asked you to think bigger than your current ceiling. We learned that the ceiling isn't made of circumstance, it's made of cognitive patterns that were built when you were young and you can rebuild now. Okay? Growth mindset says ability grows. The upper limit problem says most self sabotage is a thermostat problem. And the expansion breathing practice gives your body a way to physically release the ceiling that the mind keeps reinstalling. The moon in Virgo asks you to be practical. The Buddhist teaching says, what you think, you become. Mars in Cancer says, find the emotional connection to the action first. And Venus in Libra says, stop compromising your real needs to keep the pace. Stop making yourself small, right? So, just a quick reminder, this is our last live at 5 p.m. Starting next week, we will go at 5:30 because I need to do some self-care too. I need to get to the gym and work on my health, right? So, anyway, so that's happening. Make sure you are all checking my link tree if you are into self development. I have now published 3 books and they are all linked there. So, the first one is My Journey to Myself. It is a 400 prompt journal for women doing this same kind of self excavation work. So, if tonight's teaching on the upper limit problem, all those triggers may be landed, this journal will help you identify and work through them one honest question at a time. I also have AI side hustles for women over 40 because the expanded life needs real income, practical tools for building it. And then my newest, which I don't have a physical copy of, but there's a picture of it on my page and linked in the bio too. So you'll be able to see it there, is my 2027 Phoenix Renewal Almanac, just published today on Kindle. A full year of astrological guidance with a self development lens applied to every major transit happening next year. If you like working with astrology for your personal growth, this is your year ahead companion, right? All three of my books are linked in my bio. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your Friday. Do your expansion breathing. I certainly am. And then notice when those upper limits show up in your life, okay? Just notice. Just start paying attention to these things. That's how we get to know ourselves. We really want to get to know ourselves, don't we? Because how else are we going to grow? Hi, Jasmine. Oh, you want to get some dinner? I'm hungry. It's dinner time here, too. Oh, but yeah, no real plans really for the weekend, I don't think, other than working on my business stuff. I hope everybody else has more fun plans this weekend, or maybe you're working on building something too. Hi from Egypt. I'm here coming at you live for your Phoenix Renewal Hour in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome back and good night because I'm out of here for the night. But I'll be back on Monday at 5:30. 5:30, Monday through Friday. Thank you. Monday through Friday, go over our astrology, neuroscience, Buddhism, whatever, wherever it takes us. Maybe we just talk about our hopes and dreams and I tell you all about my mushroom village idea. I don't know. I really want to have a mushroom village vacation destination up in the woods in Minnesota, and we all like pretend that those fairy twinkle lights are real fairies and we drink, coffee or whatever. I don't know. But, you know, that's coming. That's my life. That's what I want. Yes, yes, yes. All right, everybody. I love you all. I am so glad you all joined me tonight, and I hope this was so helpful for everybody. And remember to please follow and like and do all the things, social media, blah, 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 blah. All right. Bye, guys.